10. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll, please.
Trustee Foley?
Here.
Trustee Meisen?
Here.
Trustee Bellinger? Here. Trustee Bonkowski? Here. Trustee Pridemore? Here. Trustee Hashik?
Here.
Treasurer Rodzik? Attorney Edis?
Here.
President Dilbert?
Here. Approval of agenda. I'm sorry.
Do we have any amendments that need to be made with the,
Just there's a couple things that need to be removed. Under one of the minutes, there was no December 20th meeting.
She has 2 meetings
Yeah.
under the minutes on the front.
That was on the first agenda, but this,
yeah, the
revised agenda doesn't have it.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think that's it.
Under new business, can we just add end of service for John Ray Smith? I talked to the attorney, that was the contact I was asking about. And we just, since council approved the 5,000, made a council motion to approve the 5,000, he said it wouldn't hurt just to make a motion to terminate, end of service. So it's just real quick.
Well, let me clarify it. I was asked whether you needed to do that. You don't need to do that.
Yeah.
If the services are ended and he's resigned or there's nothing more for him to do, that's fine, but it's like chicken soup. If you want to end it, doesn't mean it can't be renewed,
Right.
but it closes the book on it. Either way you want to do it.
Yeah, do we,
I would prefer not to make a formal motion to end. We have not used John since September. But we are constantly seeing things that are popping up. So far, we haven't had to contact him, but in the need that we do have to contact him, do I call a special meeting to get that approval? Or does Sandy have that authority?
well, we made the motion to approve the 5,000 focus on the audits. Those are done.
Those are done, but there are still things that are constantly,
Right, but that one motion dealt with the audits, it directed them to work with the audits. So,
we can terminate that motion.
yeah. that's-
Okay. Okay, so you said new business?
Sure.
so does that strike contracts from old business?
Yeah, that was,
Oh, that's what the,
that's what it was
okay,
about.
okay.
So we're just
But we
moving
currently
that.
don't have a contract with them
Right.
already.
For, for code enforcement, were we gonna do any action on it, or is it just discussion tonight?
That should have been discussion action.
So it's,
A motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Second?
The property moved and supported that we approve the agenda as amended. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Public comment on agenda. Mr. Drake?
For the new clerk, let me just
Please
first,
state your name for the clerk.
George Drake. Let me first welcome the new members and congratulate you on your, I guess congratulate, our condolences, however it comes out. But I'd like to congratulate you on your winning the election. I haven't been to a meeting since you've been seated, but I wish you well, and my main interest is, there are three items on the agenda that I'd like to comment on, but before that, I think I would like to resurrect an old request that I've had with several councils prior regarding the meeting rules. And it simply is this, it's difficult sometimes to make an intelligent comment about items that appear on the agenda prior to any discussion about these items on the agenda during the course of the meeting. So, and people like myself have been restricted to having any comment at the end of the meeting when called from the floor. In which, if there's germane information that I have to add, and I think Austin, as being around this village a long time and being involved in the village affairs for a long time, I can add some intelligence and some from other people who are often in opinions. So I would like to ask that you change your rule to allow people to make a comment or to ask a question regarding an item that's being discussed during the course of the meeting. The comment often, when it has come up before, is that, well, it takes people, too many people talk and they take too long and it prolongs the meeting. I have, the only retort I'd have for that is that you're doing the business of the village, and you're getting paid decently for doing that. And if it runs a half an hour over, so be it. But to curtail that, I would suggest that you limit any comments to 1 minute. And if a person can't express their concern in a minute, then maybe you have a great regret coming about them running on. So my request is to be allowed to comment or ask questions about items on the agenda that are pertinent to the discussion during the course of the meeting. And the three items that I'm interested in, items A, B, and C under under the president's items. Thank you.
My name is Charles Jones. I'm a business owner here in New Haven. And I have a couple of questions regarding item number 1, the village manager. Question 1 is, has a quantitative assessment been done that dictates a need for a village manager? That's number 1. Number 2, just doing a little background on village managers. We're looking at paying roughly $100,000 for that village manager, plus benefits. And the second question is, if that analysis has been done, what is the return on that investment? What are we planning to get for that salary that we're going to be paying out? And if there is no concrete answer for those questions, if the analysis has not been done, or you cannot tell me what the return on that investment is going to be, I'm not sure that you're in a position to vote on the item. That's my comment. And if you can answer that, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions on the motion? Comments on the agenda? Oh,
It's me. Pretty soon you're going to be rolling your eyes and sighing heavily like you did when Daniel talked. The reason I'm here is for the recreational marijuana and opting out of it. I still don't see your reasoning. Why wait 2 years? The lady behind me that had talked last month said, well, we don't need any more drug drivers on the road. Well, you know what? The biggest curse on our road right now is telephones. The drug, drunk, and drowsy drivers don't even come close to the distracted drivers that we have out there now. It's kind of, it doesn't make sense. Our children, you know, everybody's worried about our children. What about our children? Oh, our children. Well, you know what? If you did the research, you would find out that it is medicinal and it will be used for the children. Well, what if they get a hold of it? Well, you know what? They've got a hold of grandma's pain pills, they've got a hold of mom's happy pills, and they've got a hold of dad's Viagra. They drink, they get a hold of everything. I'm sorry, if you can't parent your child, don't blame the weed. Simple as that. You want to progress? You want the village to progress? How much more progressive can you get? Something that's new, something that's proven, something that's green, something that's for good. Something's legal. It's legal. It's not, you know, it's legal. I don't understand it. Why can't we plant that seed and grow with it and move with it? You know, it's going to be a growing curve for, learning curve for the state and for us. Why not hop on that? In the meantime, while we're waiting these 2 years to opt in and, you know, see what happens, we're going to throw $200,000 at somebody to market us and to shop us around. It's there. Why not use it? And there again, the village manager spending that much money, I don't believe you can justify it. I really don't. Thank you very much.
thank you. Yeah, could you state your name?
Oh, Patty Thomas. Sorry.
Are there any other comments on the agenda? Approval of minutes, December 11th.
Motion to approve the meeting minutes as presented.
Second.
Properly moved and supported that the minutes of December be approved as presented. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consent agenda.
Yeah. I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Then moved and supported that we approve the consent agenda as presented. Questions on the motion?
I just want to make some comments. If we could strike the DPW, the planning, DPW, building, planning, water, health, and nuisance, and clerk report. We don't have any of that. We have fire and police.
There's a couple of them that shouldn't be in that portion. We'll have to,
Which ones did you say, Tracy? We'll keep everything, or we'll keep fire and police, but we'll remove the rest of them. So,
that's fine.
okay.
Yeah.
You want to amend, friendly amendment?
Yeah.
Okay, I will second that.
Any other questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee Meissen,
Yes.
trustee Mellinger,
Yes.
trustee Pusolik,
Yes.
trustee Pridemore,
Yes.
trustee Patrick,
Yes.
trustee Bankowski,
Yes.
president Gilbert,
Yes. President Adams. Ordinance 360, the village manager. As promised at the last meeting, as I was asked to ask the attorney to draft an ordinance establishing the position.
Can I make a motion that we table this ordinance until, maybe we get a workshop together? The two new trustees have been brought up to speed on it, and I think, you know, there's a couple of things that we could hammer out and review the ordinance. So I'd like to make a motion just to table it right now.
Support.
Been moved and supported that we table the village manager ordinance until we can work through it during the workshop. Questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Ordinance 361, recreational marijuana. Another ordinance that was asked by the attorney to research and draft, which prohibits the establishment of any recreational marijuana establishment within the village. If there's some comments that someone around the table have, I'll allow that around. Some concerns, some comments?
Yeah, just a quick question on the ordinance. It says it shall take effect 20 days after adoption by the council or immediately upon publication. If it is published, is there a wait period after it's published?
No, if it's either, you can get it published faster if you go to the publications and pay them. They'll take a little premium and publish
There's
it.
still a waiting period.
Well, it depends. The Macomb Daily's, pretty slow. You can pay them and maybe not still get it in. And the legal news, and they're all different. Those papers are not as widely circulated or as popular as they used to be. So the state law has always been, upon publication, if you can get it published rapidly. But other than that, you gotta wait for 20 days.
And because we use the big voice, and our publications have to be in by Thursday for the following Wednesday. And a typical article this size would cost us about $150.
I wasn't here when the motion was made to draft this ordinance. But what I'd like to see is that, reading it just sounds pretty definitive, but I'd like to see something maybe in a format of a moratorium, maybe, it's effective for 1 year or 2 years or however we want to do it, just so that it would force us to revisit the issue.
You can anyway, even if you pass the ordinance.
Well, I mean, but
you can anyway.
it can get lost or whatever, but I'd like to see a timetable on it where it kind of would press us to
In
come
an
up with
ordinance, on a
something.
timetable?
Something I'd like to see.
I think we did raise that question at last month's meeting about it being a more, an actual
I
time-based.
think the suggestion was a year, though, not 2.
If we,
But even then, you put a time frame in an ordinance. But I don't think you do. We could pass a resolution to review it.
let's, Mr. Addis has an opinion on this.
Well, as much as anybody can have an opinion on a brand new law, the state law is pretty specific on how you have to opt out of this, and this is the wording. And it doesn't say anything about moratoriums or putting a limit on it. And I don't want you to run afoul of the law. I think a pretty decent suggestion is you could pass the ordinance and then make your own motion to declare it and review it again in a year. But I wouldn't play with the ordinance because you may invite a legal challenge.
So if this ordinance gets adopted, we would need another motion to revisit that ordinance in a specified time.
Sure, resolution.
I guess on the flip side, having attended some of the seminars about the recreational marijuana, the new laws and everything with Proposal 1, it sounded like to me there wasn't too much of a rush, that we had to do this right away, although most municipalities are. Because it sounded like at least a year before they're even going to be able to start accepting the applications. We would want to have it in one way or another. If we decide that we're going to opt out, we would want to have it by that point. But if we have at least 6 months, do we
have to make a motion on it?
Right, we really need to act on this right now, right away.
If you're asking for a legal thing, that's up to you whether you want to act on any motion. I can't give you a political opinion. My direction was to prepare an ordinance that would allow you to opt out. And that's the ordinance that we prepared. If you decide you don't want to opt out, there's arguments that there is still time. I just want to remind everybody that this is a brand-new set of legislative rules that keep moving in flux. As of now, this is the proper one. Whether you want to approve it or wait or look into more things, that's a decision of a legislative body.
Is it, I know in the past that there was a committee put together, but that was pre-legalization. Is there any opinion that anything might have changed with the changing of the law? Like, Hannah?
That was for medical marijuana, which is.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Is it like, is it, I don't know, maybe exploring at that level again now that it's a different.
It's recreational.
Yeah. I mean, even if we do approve the ordinance, next month we could
We could.
rescind it.
We can rescind it.
You know,
Yeah.
but right now, if we don't want to receive paperwork and applications, and if we will, maybe we should just, like I said, tomorrow, we could rescind it.
I guess my personal hesitation, and Mr. Ennis, if you could maybe clarify, with the wording of the Section 3, prohibits the establishment or operation of any and all categories of marijuana establishments within its boundaries. Does that affect stores which are selling CBD cream, CBD oils, where it's
Well,
it's
let
not
me give you a definitive answer. I have no idea. Okay? And I don't think anybody else does either. Marijuana is supposed to have a specific meaning under the statute, but then again, you bring up a good point. It then speaks of other things. That would be something that might one day be challenged. And what we did is we researched all of the places we could find that have done this. We've read the law, we've gone over it. This is the proper language that will be accepted by the state to opt out. And again, I don't want to give anybody an idea that I have an opinion on this. This is completely up to this board to deliberate and decide. But this is, I'm confident, the appropriate language that will accomplish opting out. And I would not go so far as to say, I know how some law enforcement agency or some judge would apply that to the related products that go along with marijuana. It's a great question, and I wish I had the answer. I mean, we'll continue to look at it and let you know as time goes on.
That's, yeah, I mean, that's my personal hesitation. I mean, I definitely do believe in the medicinal qualities of marijuana. And CBD oil, CBD cream, I mean, it's all, I think that was all legal regardless of Proposal 1. I just don't want to see us do anything which now all of a sudden prohibits that.
Off the top of my head, I do not think it does, but that's not, you know, I give legal opinions, I give them in writing. That's off the top of my head, I think those things are okay, but I would not, you know, sign my name to that until I researched it. And it's tough because it changes every day.
What's your pleasure? Do you want to table this for another month
I make a motion that we approve ordinance 361.
361.
I will second it.
It's probably moved and supported that we approve ordinance 361 that prohibits recreational marijuana establishments within the village limits. Any questions on the motion?
I have one. Trustee Meissen, when you went to those workshops, what was their estimated timetable? They said Laura could be ready to give out licenses? Because I know for medical marijuana, they gave an estimate, and it was pretty close, within a month. So,
For proposal one, it was within 1 year.
within 1 year of,
So I believe that would be then December of 2019.
2019, early 2020.
Yeah.
But we could still review it every 6 months to see what kind of progress.
Sure, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Good question, Mr. Foley, I was going to ask the same question. Just based on the fact that we're not even prepared as far as the procedures for this. At this point, I think it's appropriate. And as you said, it can be revisited if maybe someone wants to put that in their calendar. Maybe we could revisit even in 3 months. It doesn't have to be a year. So just to see where the state is. I think until they're ready, we can't even do anything at this point.
Is it, so we just did a workshop on it as well at our office, and I thought, I was under the impression anyways, that even though Laura can't approve anything, local municipalities can still receive applications leading up to Laura being able to actually approve them.
Yes.
It may behoove us to adopt the ordinance just to save the limited office staff we have, the paperwork, until we decide what we want to do.
That was my thought.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? Roll, please.
Trustee Bellinger?
Yes.
Trustee Pankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Pridemore?
Yes.
Trustee Heschnick?
no.
Trustee Porcelli?
Yes.
President Gilbert?
Yes. I think Mr. Meissner was.
I apologize.
Yes.
Trustee
Yes.
Meissner?
Okay.
Motion carried. Item C, New Haven Town Center lease.
He doesn't record a vote. Doesn't want to record a vote.
Didn't we say we wanted to make a formal motion though to revisit this?
We can.
I think we need to decide on a time frame.
We do 6 months? We can always do sooner if we decide, bring it back to the table, but we could at least formally say 6
If that's
months.
what you want.
I make a motion that we revisit this in 6 months.
Second.
Been properly moved and supported that we revisit ordinance 361 in 6 months. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item C, the New Haven Town Center. We have had this discussion for, I don't know, a year. And we typically would have it in closed session. I sent out a note recently asking everyone to get their lease agreements out and refresh your, now it's time to act. What's our intent on this building? And it's gonna be my recommendation, and it's something that we've talked about multiple times in closed session, or we've had, some discussion, that if we ever want to attempt to challenge the lease for this building, now's the time to do it. I would be the first to admit that it probably should have been done 7, 8, 9 years ago. But it wasn't. We have a one-sided, lopsided lease. And I think, particularly the ones who have been here, they have all expressed their opinions and we've all shared our opinions. So that's my recommendation.
How would we word the motion?
I'm sorry.
How would we word the motion?
That we authorize legal counsel to file a lawsuit in circuit court challenging the lease to this building.
I make a motion that we direct Attorney Addis to file a motion in court concerning the lease on the New Haven Town Center.
Support. Is that properly worded, Mr. Addis?
Properly worded.
Yeah.
Been properly moved and supported that Mr. Addis, the village attorney, draft a law challenging the lease on the New Haven Town Center.
She is the real estate lady.
Any questions on that motion?
Many all the time.
One question, and Mr. Anderson, you'll follow it from beginning to end?
Yes,
Okay.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
I didn't,
yes, no, I think you're new, that's fine, I agree. I will follow it from beginning to end.
well, I'm not questioning if you would or not, or
No.
bringing someone on with the.
Oh, no.
pursuit of-
No, we'll do it.
Okay.
But if I find, if I run across, I'm not the answer to all questions, if I run across someone who I believe can help us, I would present that to the board as an additional, and it wouldn't cost you anything to learn. We don't do that, you don't get charged extra because we bring on an extra person to help.
Any other questions on the motion?
Is there, I know there's not a cost, you couldn't begin to estimate at this point.
I think costs and our approach, that should be part of closed session.
Okay.
Because the other side, if they know costs, know how to play us out.
Perfect.
Okay?
So can I anticipate that happening?
I
once
would
you get-
think that once we put together a lawsuit and run it by you, that would be the subject of closed session.
Perfect, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee Persolo?
Yes.
Trustee Meisen?
Yes.
Trustee Bellinger?
Yes.
Trustee Pridemore?
Yes.
Trustee Pankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Heskett?
Yes.
3.5 million.
President Dilbert?
Yes.
And because of the,
At the same time, I would like to be able to direct the office to take our monthly payment and put it in escrow.
she won't take that.
What would be, Mr. Evans, would be any ramifications from that?
My guess off the top of my head would be that it would cause them to file suit, which in and of itself, again, without doing, again, I don't like to give legal opinions like this, but one of the possibilities is they'd say, we're not putting up with this, we'll file suit. And then we make a response and a counter complaint. In effect, no real difference, we're all going to end up in court either way. Now, in our previous discussions, which we're not allowed to talk about in public, we've all been through these issues, at least the long-term members of the board. So everybody knows what the issues are and the risks are. And I think we should have a meeting again to discuss that also. The decision to put it in escrow is a decision, again, made by a legislative body. If you think you've been wronged and you want to bring attention to it, that's one of the ways to do it. Could a court order you and say, no, you can't do it? Yeah, they could do that. Or they could say, well, let's keep paying in there until we decide what the issues are. There are no risks. I mean, no risks that I can predict how they're going to come out. This is a lease that you guys have been struggling with for so long that eventually somebody's got to make a decision one way or the other. And if you think it gives you an advantage to put the money in escrow, then that's a decision for you to make. If you think you look better by continuing to pay and being the nice guys while asking the court to give you relief, that might work too. Since we don't know who the judge is, I don't know. But it all comes down to that. So my answer is, yeah, that in my opinion, would probably cause them to file suit. And, okay. I mean, we're going to sue them anyway. Just a matter of who stands up in court first. The arguments don't change.
Sounds good to me. Hold it, that's right. Do we need a council motion for that? Or can we just?
Oh, yeah.
I would ask for one, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I make a motion that we withhold payment to Phoenix Contracting and hold all future rent payments in escrow until further notice.
Second. Been properly moved and supported. That all future payments to Phoenix Contracting be put in escrow. Any questions on the motion?
Are you gonna notify them of that? Can you spend, I'm very
No, no, no,
serious.
no.
I want to
I'm-
understand how
I'm
this is
serious
supposed to
too.
work. And the reason I ask this is because according to this contract, that's a violation of the contract
It
not to
sure
pay the
is,
rent.
sure is, it sure
So
is.
now we're in the wrong.
Well,
I-
we're in the
I
wrong-
understand what you're
we
saying.
are in the wrong if the contract is legal and binding. We're not in the wrong if it turns out it's not legal and binding.
I agree with you, but the way it
I
stands
would
today. it's
notify
a legal
them,
and
it would be
binding
my
contract.
practice to notify.
Okay.
No, it was signed by the board.
I think Michigan law and our law states if you have agreements, the appropriate way to handle it is put in escrow with notifications.
Thank you.
And I agree with that, but it's always been my practice to tell them there's no sense hiding it. They're going to find out issues.
Correct.
Any questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee Pridemore,
Yep.
trustee Hessek,
Yes.
trustee Priscelli,
Yes.
trustee Meissen,
Yes.
trustee Bellinger,
Yes.
trustee Bankowski,
Yes.
President Gilbert,
Yes. Item D, we finally filled the position in the office as of Monday, yesterday. Yes. And I'm going to ask Mrs. Cazo just to stand up and give a 30-second opinion of her.
We decided to go with a lady that had mostly a administration background. She's a woman with small children and in the area, and we're hoping that she will bring some life in our office. And I hope that she so far has picked up everything I taught her in the past 16 hours. So it looks pretty bright that we have somebody that will be able to handle what we have going on in the office. So I'm pretty excited about having her in there. Yes.
That was only 23. 7 seconds in the bank. Committee appointment. I'm sorry, if anyone has any questions for Sandy about the new hire.
Does she have any accounting background?
She hasn't when she went to college. And she does have accounting experience where she was at. She was doing payroll and timesheets and everything like that she was at. So she picks up quickly. It's amazing. So I'm excited.
Is it appropriate to ask her name? Or? Sure.
Very important.
Well, please tell her that we all say well.
Item E, appointment. Well, been given an updated sheet this evening. About the upcoming appointments, we have 2 vacancies on the planning commission. First of all, let me start with the council. I've asked Mr. Haziak to be the pro temp, and he has accepted that offer. On the planning commission, we had 2 vacancies, and I received interest from Miss Witz. Where's she at?
I'm Heidi.
Yeah, I see that. From Ms. Wissett, former treasurer, and from a gentleman that lives out in Pembroke by the name of Craig Sims. On the Parks and Rec, we had 2 vacancies. And I received interest from this Tara Woman and from Fatima Dilbert, who is my niece. So just for, we just happen to have her last name. The Ways and Means, I would like to keep as is, as was. And I'm also going to reestablish a street committee with, and I'm asking Mr. Meissen and Mr. Piccoli, who is our MDOT liaison, to be part of the committee, along with myself, the DPW superintendent, and the village engineer. We got some projects that we want to take a look at, and we want to get some fresh eyes and opinions. So with that being said, we can either accept this as a whole, or we can do each individual, however you want.
I make a motion, we accept the committees as presented.
Support.
Is that okay?
Yes, yes. Question on the motion?
We didn't hit CBA, we have vacancies there.
Yeah, that's not an appointment. We have a vacancy that's been posted.
Perfect.
You can't send it to.
I'm sorry, been probably moved and supported. Question on the motion that we accept these recommendations for appointments.
Since it was brought up, have we received any,
DBA?
yeah.
No.
But it did change because I changed to council liaison.
Yes, the liaisons are posted. Mr. Haziak remains on Parks and Rec. Mrs. Bonkowski takes over the Planning Commission liaison, and Mrs. Ballinger takes over as DBA liaison.
If it's done as a whole, I'm gonna abstain on my vote.
Well, you don't like you?
Right. Make a mistake.
Any other questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee Pridemore?
Yep.
Trustee Meissen?
Yep.
Trustee Bellinger?
Yep.
Trustee Pankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Messick?
Yes.
President Gilbert?
Yes. Are you still Ms. Hall? Madam Clerk?
Oh, I'm sorry, trustee Priscilla.
Abstain.
Sorry.
The meeting dates for 2019.
Make a motion, we approve the meeting dates as presented.
Support.
It's probably moved and supported that the meeting dates for 2019 be accepted. There are no conflicts on the calendar with the second Tuesday of the month. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Ordinance 359. We adopted 358 last month, our snow emergency. And somehow we put in 1 inch instead of 2 inches of snow. And it should have been 2. And can we not just do a correction on the language, or do we have to adopt the whole new ordinance?
Either one will work, but if you adopt the whole new ordinance, it's already drawn up. It accomplishes the same thing.
Okay, okay.
I make a motion that we approve ordinance 359, which is an amendment to ordinance 358 for snow emergencies and amending the language. Do you need that too?
Yeah, amending the language.
Yeah, amending the language from 1 inch to 2 inches.
Support.
They're probably moved and supported that we adopt ordinance 359, amending our snow emergency ordinance. Any replacing 358, our snow emergency ordinance. Any questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee Meissen?
Yes.
Trustee Pridemore?
Yes.
Trustee Priscilla?
Yes.
Trustee Bellinger? Yes. Trustee Pankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Hessett?
Yes.
President Gilbert?
Yes. Item H, the SAW grant. The SAW grant has been closed out. We received our final reimbursement payment from the state of Michigan. So the SAW grant has been closed. Item I, as a direct result of the village completing its audits and getting them sent to the state and accepted by the state treasury department. Last week we received a check of in the amount of $286,000 that was being withheld So that's just for information. And then shortly afterwards, Sandy received another check for $100,000, and then she started getting red in the face. She just can't handle all this money coming in.
Well,
So just for your information.
Was the additional 100K, that was an addition, that was the CBTRS also?
That was an Act 51 money
Oh.
that came in. So last week it was, like I said, it was a total of $388,000 that came in that have been withheld because of our property sale. Last week I received an offer of $1 for the 47 acres on Clark Street. Last night, I received an offer of $50,000 for the 47 acres on Clark Street. Just so you know, the $1 offer was from the gentleman who had the original purchase agreement last year, whenever it was. The $50,000 offer is from a local business. But I have no idea what his intent for that property would be.
He lives down here and talk to us.
I would definitely invite him to come here. That's why it's just for discussion. Matter of fact, I'll invite them both.
I think that's probably the best way to go, and it looks like we're missing some of the contracts, like for the 50,000, we have page 1 and 6, but we are missing several, and for the dollar, we're missing 2
Same
through
thing.
4. Yeah, we're missing several pages.
But there's nothing in those pages.
Sure.
Just to preserve paper,
Yeah.
I asked Sandy to just print out page 1 and the signatures. Because there's nothing in between that. There's all disclosures from lead paint.
I'm the only one that can read them.
No, I think we should probably table it until they can be present to answer questions on their intentions for the land. I agree. So should I make a motion?
No, because it's right here.
It's just discussion.
Yeah, this is just for discussion. I have no intent of acting on this. The attorney item. But I will extend that invitation to the two. Social media policy.
We were asked some time ago to put together social media policy. We followed our normal protocol. We looked at everyone we could get our hands on. We read the most recent cases where people get in trouble with social media. And I think we've developed a policy that is not overly broad. It makes sense. I'd like to point out that this is a constantly changing area. And the social media policy is something that probably should be looked at least on a yearly basis. Everybody safe, it changes so rapidly. But this policy has been provided to you. I think it's appropriate. I recommend its adoption.
I don't know how far this will go to curtail some activities. For instance, I have a responsibility of sharing information with this board. But my shared information shall not be part of a Facebook conversation until this whole board has dealt with it. And that is my concern, my ongoing concern. And I know there are board members who who feel that I withhold, yes, I do. Because my primary responsibility is to protect this village. So, with that being said, it's important that we all understand that social media, until the item has become an official, acted on in a public meeting item, shall not be social media conversation. And while I don't actively participate in Facebook and all those things, I do look. And when I see things on there that I have sent out to this board, and it is on social media last week and the council meeting tonight. Now, if it goes on tomorrow, that's fine. It's public. But it shouldn't be a conversation prior. So that's why I think we need this policy to somewhat try to curtail some of these things. Now, I understand, the First Amendment, okay, and these social media policies will probably always be challenged by someone, okay? But we need to give some thought to some separation between our public duties and responsibilities and our private social media accounts.
And this ordinance complies with all state and federal laws.
It does as of today, and I don't think anything's coming right down the pipe now. We got other things to worry about, Nancy, but as of now, I think this is I give credit to Sean Kelly in my office. He really got into this and researched it, and I think it's almost kind of at a level of state of the art. But again, I would always suggest that we constantly look at this policy because social media, the rules that apply to it are constantly changing. But for now and until a problem arises, and I hope it doesn't, I think you'll find this is appropriate.
Would you recommend that we reissue the policy every year?
Yes. I think that's a good idea.
I assume we've all had an opportunity to read this. What's your pleasure?
So you're looking for a motion, Mr. Dillard?
Yes.
So I will make a motion to adopt the social media policy as presented.
Been properly moved and supported that we adopt the social media policy as presented. Any questions on the motion?
I just have a comment. I'm going to just back up what you say about the Facebook and things like that. I mean, when we go on social media with a trustee or sharing information, you're representing all of us at this table, not just yourself. I know it's a very fine line, but you truly are. So that's my only comment.
Any other questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee Pankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Malinger?
Yes.
Trustee Persoli?
Yes.
Trustee Nyson?
Yes.
Trustee Hassick?
Yes.
Trustee Pridemore?
Yep.
President Dilbert?
Yes. Motion carried. The annual disclosure statement, conflict of interest.
Again, in your packet, you've been provided what we drew up as a conflict of interest form. In the era of transparency, these are more important now than ever. I would encourage everyone to be more inclusive of what their interests are rather than less. Put out what you have interest in that may be in a conflict or one of your immediate family members. In the long run, it protects board members from attacks down the road that may be unfair. If you disclose a conflict, then for all practical purposes, you're off the hook. You said it, you told everybody. Now, if they want to bring it up one day, they can. If you don't disclose it and it comes up the other way, it's always a problem. So it's a pretty simple form. Again, we researched it. I think it's simple enough that it's easy to fill out and answer. If you have a question, whether you should disclose or don't disclose, call me. I'll keep that conversation private and privileged and let you know what I think you should do.
Quick question.
Mhm.
Item 4 says, I have legal or beneficial ownership of a stock with a market value of $25,000 or more in a company which is doing a business with the Village of Arlington. It is not listed on any stock exchange?
These are privately held companies,
Okay,
okay?
all
In
right,
which you might have a substantial interest.
all right.
I don't know if there's many of those that do business with New Haven, but it does arise that there are companies out there that are privately held. You get a board member or a public official that owns a pretty good chunk of it. You need to know that. But if they're not doing business, we don't care. If they're about to do business, you can always disclose at that time. This is a living document. If you come up with something or buy into something during the course of your time on the board, fill out another one and let us know. It's really to protect the members of this board from unfair public attacks or to be in some way blackmailed or bribed, so to speak, by a public attack. Here's what I own. If they do business with this village, I'm telling you that right now, so that there's no accusations of underhanded or backdoor dealing.
A motion's in order.
I move that we adopt the conflict of interest statement as presented.
Support.
Been properly moved and supported. That we adopt the conflict of interest report as presented. Any questions on the motion?
You want to set a procedure for it now, when you want it back?
That's really up to you guys, because I don't know how much, you might want to research your own holdings or whatever. But if you want to put it in the motion, you return it to the clerk.
Within 60 days?
Fair?
Is that acceptable, Mr. Proposal?
Can we have a stack of these duplicated and just sitting around?
Sure, yeah, sure, that'd be a good idea.
Any other questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee McCauley?
Yes.
Trustee Bellinger? Yes. Trustee Meisen?
Yes.
Trustee Pankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Pridemore?
Yes.
Trustee Hatchett?
Yes.
President Dilbert?
Yes. Motion carried. Approval of payment of bills.
I move that we pay the bills for just January and December for the amount of $213,886.70.
Support.
Been properly moved and supported that we pay the bills for December and January in the amount of $213,886.70. Any questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee Pacelli?
Yes.
Trustee Pankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Meisen?
Yes.
Trustee Bellinger?
Yes.
Trustee Pridemore?
Yes.
Trustee Hatchett?
Yes.
President Dilbert?
Yes. The clerk's item. The clerk is asking that any agenda item be presented by February 1st for the February 12th meeting. Treasurer report.
Total village assets, $3,822,000.64.
Can you repeat that?
$3,822,000.64.
Make a motion to receive and file the treasurer's report.
Support.
Been properly moved and supported that we receive and file the treasury report. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Old business, code enforcement. I don't know whether to put Mr. Meisen by it or Mr. Haydick by it. Someone just needs to own it.
I mean, where are we going with it? Well, I think we've received the one response And I don't believe we've received any other.
No, just the one.
Just the one. Do we want to call the person who submitted the person that's here in the audience? Do we want to have them come up, we can ask some questions, and then make a
To be
motion?
fair.
Okay. Mr. Vandercook, you want
Welcome back.
Yeah.
You want to go ahead and just introduce yourself?
So, Daniel Vanderkirk, I live in the village in Decorah Park. I used to be on council for 4+ years myself. During that time, for about 3 years of it, give or take, I really tried to champion the effort of code enforcement. Definitely, there were some setbacks. We had to restart with a new code enforcement officer. There's definitely been some learning experiences, which have been great, and then there were definitely some setbacks, some differences of style, as to how the prior code enforcement officers tried to pursue different matters. That being said, I've been following it all along myself. Behind the scenes, some of you guys have been privy to some of the emails, so you know that I know how to do the research and whatnot. And I've, when I dig into a matter, I get down to the fine detail of it, and I communicate that, try to communicate that effectively. Probably overkill, it's a point of overkill, but I think more is better than less, especially in this type of field. So I really dot my I's, cross my T's. I do have all the relationships both within the village personnel and beyond, at the county level, some of the courts. So I feel definitely suited to carry on this position without skipping a beat. It's actually one of the reasons that I actually decided to put in for it, because I'll just say, I just hope that we don't lose the progress that we've made, because I do feel that we're almost there, and that I can hopefully continue that and get us over the hump. There's a few properties that particularly that have looked pretty shabby for a couple of years at least, and I'd like to pursue those as well as obviously every other thing that comes up.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'm going to.
Are we doing a Q&A? Are we doing a Q&A?
Yes.
So I just have one question. Who would Mr. Vanderhoff report to?
Sorry.
Who would he report, if he was brought onto the position, who would he report to?
The prior code enforcement officer actually sent reports out to the council, but on a day-to-day basis, it would probably be me.
Okay.
Yeah. But he would be required to send his reports in the monthly packet.
I told him I can get your name on it.
I think previously we had, at the time, actually, trustee Vandercook as the liaison to code enforcement. Do we want to still have a liaison? Or do we want to-
If there's someone that wants to take up that,
Yeah.
I certainly would not be opposed to it. Yeah.
I make a motion to appoint Daniel as the code enforcement officer.
Support.
Been probably moved and supported, and I keep saying Van Kirkhoff, and I do that.
That's why I said Daniel.
Well, my friend out in the audience, because we used to have a plant manager years ago, and that's how his name was pronounced. What is your,
Van D. Cove, but everybody says all.
Cove, okay.
Not Russian.
Okay. I know I've been slaughtered here for years now.
It's a good thing, understand.
Been probably moved and supported that Mr. Van Kirkhoff will be appointed code enforcement officer for the new zone. Any questions on the motion?
Mr. Goodwin, you did not receive any other applications?
No.
Okay.
No. Just one. And I think that was sent out to the whole board.
Correct.
What are your
So
thoughts?
so upon appointment, then the application for planning has rescinded, or?
Yes, yes. Plus those spots are already been filled.
Yeah.
sorry,
I just wonder what your thoughts were.
what my thoughts were?
I mean, is that you want Mr. Hasiak to be the liaison?
Oh,
I just
we
want to
could-
understand the chain of command in this position, that's all.
Yeah, no, once you're, I mean, you're gonna be appointed momentarily, we can, yeah, I can be the liaison, we work together all the time, or if
They
anyone
work
wants to,
together,
by all
so-
means.
I mean, the procedure has to be that he has to get appointed first.
Right, then we can make a motion about appointing.
Motion on the table.
Yeah.
Any other questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee Pridemore?
Yes.
Trustee Lyson?
Yes.
Trustee Foley?
Yes.
Trustee Bellinger? Trustee Pankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Bellinger? Trustee Hessick?
Yes.
President Gilbert?
Yes. Welcome back.
I make a motion that we appoint trustee Hasiak to liaison for code enforcement.
Second.
Been properly moved and supported, that Mr. Hajek be the liaison for code enforcement. Any questions on the motion?
That appointing him as liaison doesn't exempt the monthly reporting though.
Oh, no, no, absolutely not.
Just means,
Yes.
for any of us on council, we
It's
feel
just
our
our buffer between the public and.
Okay, so that's the policy we follow. If I have a question about it, I contact you.
And then, but we'll get a monthly report.
Yeah.
Like the reports to you.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I wanted to understand. Thank you.
Been properly moved and supported. Any other questions on the motion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Item B, I assume is going to be item C, a new business, right? Mrs. President?
What?
Item B is item C, a new business.
Yeah, or I could do it now, it's real quick.
Do it now.
Okay. I make a motion that we officially accept end of service for John Reisman for the audits.
Support.
Been properly moved and supported that we
Officially accept end of service for John Reisman with the audits.
officially accept the end of service with Mr. Ryan Smith for the end of
Audits, for the audits.
for the audit. Any questions on the motion?
But we will continue to use them for services as needed, correct?
As needed on an emergency basis.
Right.
And it's been 3 months now since we've needed them. But like I said, I hope nothing unexpected pops up that we need to, because we're getting a lot of support from our auditors. A lot of support.
And in those emergency cases, council being made aware of those?
You'll be made aware, like I said, Sandy and I had a discussion, and she agreed that we shouldn't just totally terminate, because there may be something that comes up, and it would definitely go on an hourly basis. So if she has to pick up the phone and ask a question, then I'm sure we're gonna get a bill for half an hour, or whatever that time frame is. Any other questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Planning Commission update.
I can take it, Mr. Gilbert, if you want. So the planning commission met last night and we reviewed some plans for the property at 57070 Gratiot, formerly known as Coyotes. And we met with the petitioner and proposed some changes to them, and they're going to go back and come back next month. So we expect to be a little bit further ahead next month with that. It is time for the master plan 5-year renewal. So there is no additional cost to the village for that as part of the planner's fees that are included. A schedule has been set. It's going to take us through November to get that. That's what we call it, renewal. And council is encouraged to participate in the May 7th meeting. That's going to be a meeting where all our stakeholders will be invited. So we are asking, council to attend that. We are continuing to review the sign ordinance and the PUDs. We intend to have a recommendation for council relating to the zoning ordinance changes next month. And a public hearing is set for February 5th regarding rezoning some property at Clausen and Gratiot from office to residential, single family. That's it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Probably they just cleared out.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
The former Coyotes, what type of businesses?
It's a relocation of a current business in town.
Okay.
Party store.
Party store.
Yeah, something goes in corner.
Right, but it's a
Yeah,
party
yes,
store.
it's a party store, yes.
Can I ask for moving forward for the store clerk, if we could add that the trustee Binkowski?
Any questions, Mr. Gronkowski? On the planning issues? Mr. Haziak?
Yeah, I actually probably should have scrapped this, but if anyone has any questions, I can field them, but we didn't meet because of the holidays.
Right.
So, yeah, there's a couple things we're working on behind the scenes, but you are already privy to them, so.
Didn't we get to our draft that you had asked for three objectives?
We'll talk about that at the table, from the table. Yes. Yeah. Because I was going to bring it up. Call from the floor.
Question.
Question on this property sale. Is there a list of the properties that the village owns that they're looking to sell?
No, we had 3 parcels up for sale and 2 have sold, and this is a large parcel that's on Park Street, 47 acres on Park Street.
Okay.
Next door to,
That deal's not done yet, right?
no, so that's what we were talking about tonight.
It is publicly posted on your real estate sign.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll tell you a little bit that. There's also a vacant parcel that's landlocked on Delane Street. Village owns it, they received it somehow, that was 2004. Would the village be interested in selling?
I can't answer that because I don't know what the parcel is.
Okay.
So we'll
Now,
have to,
email a list,
it's
parcel
on
ID
the
numbers, that I'm interested in purchasing.
I'm sorry.
I'll email the board a list of the parcel numbers that I'm interested in buying,
Okay.
see if they are interested in selling.
Okay, well, I'll have to get the building department to pull them up and see what it is.
Okay. And then as far as these ordinances, 360, 361, and the, item C, new town center lease agreement, are we the taxpayers eligible to have a copy of those for review?
Lease agreement?
Yes.
I'm sure that's probably a public document.
Is that?
It's a public document.
Okay. So would we just send a FOIA over to the village office for payments?
You could probably just come in here and ask for a copy.
Okay, very good. Okay, thank you. That's all I have a question.
Hello, Patty Thomas again. Over the weekend, there was a attempted escape at the prison over there. I went online on the New Haven community page and, was listening to it and put my little comment on there and said we're guilty by association. And I mentioned the subject. He came back, told me that I was cramming it down his throat and that I could smoke it until he choked. Till I choked. And I was the one that was blown off the page. Bam, boom. And it's small, narrow, nasty-minded people like that that's not going to allow this village to go anywhere. Thank you.
Wait, Mother. Very rude, very rude.
No, we're going to that page.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where's that?
No, yeah.
That's George Strait again.
Hey, George,
Here's our time clock, George. Hurry it up.
make sure, if you don't hear the man about speech, okay, are there any thoughts on my request earlier? Or is that tabled, you know, about changing the rules
Question.
for more public participation?
I will allow comment to the chair, if you have any comments on this suggestion.
My personal thoughts on that is we still have to have some kind of order in the meetings, so they have to still flow. But if you have any questions about what an agenda item is, you can contact me before the meeting, and I can tell you what it might be more about. So that you can make your educated comment on the agenda item.
Well, generally speaking, just from my observation, commenting on the agenda item early on doesn't get you any information. You just comment and then you sit down. My concern is that, to give you an example, the recreational marijuana issue that you guys dealt with here tonight was about an ordinance to do something. But it was never said
Was that last meeting?
what the ordinance intent was to do, and maybe that happened at the meeting I missed. And it would seem though that just as a preamble, so that people know what you're talking about when things are being discussed, you would say that, well, this is an ordinance that's been considered to do thus and so in very general terms, and then I'd know. But my question is no. What is this ordinance intended to do? The one that's 361 recreational marijuana is that about dispensaries, or I don't know what it's about, and I want to ask, what is it about? And I really want to know that. Just need to know, because I was under the impression that when the language was that was used in the referendum that was voted on back in November, whatever was in that became law. Well, apparently it didn't, because a lot of the municipalities are doing different things. I understand from conversation here tonight that goes a little bit beyond. But that is, and I'm just curious as to what those are. Can I get an answer on that?
Yeah, the ordinance that was talked about tonight was to prohibit recreational marijuana establishment within the village of New Haven. So to opt out.
Okay, established.
Meaning sales.
Of any, whether it's
Okay, so the guy that wants to grow his 12 plants, he can't do it in New Haven.
That's personal use, it's not commercial.
I'm saying okay. That was mostly for personal use anyway, as I thought. So the personal use is still allowed. Oh, okay. All right, okay. So it has to do with commercial application under that. Well, I don't know what that is anyway. Okay. And the other question I had, on the village manager issue, you're going to hold a public, I'm saying you said a study group. Will that be a public meeting?
Absolutely.
Okay. And that hasn't been set yet?
No.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Call from the floor. Call from the table. Oh, we need to set a date for the workshop. And we also need to remind, you all received a preliminary budget sometime today. Take a look at it. but first need to set a, date for the workshop.
You had asked for a Ways and Means Committee meeting?
Yes.
Could we do both of them at the same time?
We absolutely can.
All right. Yeah, and I apologize for not setting it right away. I was out of town. He's on baby walk, so things have just been kind of up in the air. I didn't get a copy of the new budget.
Did come over today,
Yeah, he did. Earlier today.
It was sent out today, sometime today.
Yeah, I didn't wait. So if I can get a copy of that. The week of the 14th, is anyone available on any particular day? The 21st. Okay. The week of the 21st.
On the 22nd, is that part of night?
Park night's 15th.
I feel available on Monday, Martin Luther King Day.
Let's do the 22nd.
Yeah, I could do the 22nd, 23rd, 24th.
22nd?
The second one?
22nd works?
Yep.
Mario? Okay. 6:30?
You know what, actually, I apologize. 22nd, do we have the 150th anniversary?
I don't know, you tell me.
Yeah. That would typically be the week of the 150th anniversary. That's at 7 o'clock.
Is it here? Okay. So do we want to go 23 Wednesday?
23 Wednesday, 6:30? Okay.
So we want to do which order?
Ways and Means and then the workshop.
Okay.
And we need an agenda for Ways and Means.
There's going to be 2 items. Well, yeah.
It'll be quick.
So workshop will be at 6:30?
No, the Ways and Means will be at 6:30.
Yes,
But it's only 2 items, so.
okay.
So wait, Ways and Means 6:30 and then the workshop at 7?
Ways and Means at 6:30, workshop probably at 6:45.
Okay.
So just.
It's gonna be that quick.
Yeah.
Okay. That's on the 22nd.
23rd.
23rd, I'm sorry. I'm wrong already. Okay. Last month, I had, please,
What was the date?
I'm sorry,
23rd.
January 23rd.
23rd.
Workshop?
Ways and Means workshop. Ways and Means and workshop.
On the, last month, I had just suggested that the trustees supply or submit 3, what they consider 3 top priorities. I did receive 2 lists, and thank you to those who submitted them. And I'm going to take those 2 lists and put them together. Maybe put some opinions behind some of the things, and then I'm going to send them out to everybody. There were a couple good suggestions, really good suggestions that had been bounced around in my brain for a few months, and when I saw them written down by someone else, then that kind of told me that they were good suggestions. So, but yeah, I certainly appreciate those who took the time to submit them. It tells me, it gives me some idea of what people are looking at and looking for. What else? I think that's all I have. Coffin table.
No, I have my list for you.
Oh, you have it here? Okay, so I have 3 lists now. Okay. Call from the table.
I just have a question about shell permits.
I'm sorry.
Shell permits. Who would I talk to about that? I mean, is that something that, so it's a building permit, but it's a shell permit? So they can only do the shell up and then they'll stop building and then when the weather changes. Okay, so she said we didn't do those here. So it's, go back to her.
Yeah.
Okay.
She should put you in contact with the building inspector.
Okay, thank you.
Call from the table. Motion in order.
Motion to adjourn?
Thank you. Good night.